Well, hello there. Today we're going to continue this video series on persuasion in print. How to be more powerful, more passionate, more persuasive when we're writing, not just when we're speaking. And today I've got a cracking idea for you that I know from personal experience. When you use it, seriously, can make you a lot of money. Hello there, my name is Peter Thomson. I'm the UK's most prolific information product creator. Over the last 27 years since I sold my business and semi-retired, I've been sharing my knowledge, experience and expertise with coaches, consultants, speakers and trainers, people like me and you in the helping industry, helping them to turn their knowledge into informational products so they can reach more people than they previously dreamed possible, and how to improve their fee rate so they're getting rightfully rewarded for the differences they make with their clients. Now, this idea in this video series of persuasion in print is actually one idea very simple, but in the execution of it takes a bit more effort, time and commitment. The famous and legendary copywriter Gary Halbert once said something along these lines. I may not be quoting it exactly. You're only ever one letter away from striking it rich. And how true is that? So when it comes to writing, I've got a number of ideas for you. Firstly, to keep writing. To keep on writing and keep sticking our ideas out there in the marketplace, whether it's an email, whether it's a web page, whether it's a piece of direct mail, whether it's a postcard, whether it's an endorsed letter to somebody else's list, whether it's a Facebook post, whether it's a LinkedIn post or an article or a free report or a video. Keep on writing and keep letting the market determine whether or not it actually works, whether or not it produces the results that's worthy of the effort you've put in, or the money, time and effort it's taken to put it in the post. So keep on writing, keep on testing, because you're only ever one letter away from the result that you really want. I know from my own experience, let me tell you what happened. Over 20 years ago, I sat down and I wrote a 8-page letter. 4 pages, this is 4 pages, 4 pages of A4, and this is printed on both sides. It was about this sort of size of letter. And the reason I've got this one in my hand is because I wrote this week and I'll talk to you about it. But this particular letter over 20 years ago was all about my audio newsletter that I'd launched called The Achiever's Edge. And this was an audio that went out. It was a cassette in those days, would you believe? Then it was CD and it was paper-based and it's online. And obviously it's grown and changed over the years. But it was originally a cassette. And in fact, let me show you a picture of it. There it is there. And so it went out and I sent this piece of direct mail out into the marketplace that I spent weeks writing. I sent it to people I know so they could edit it and suggest ideas for me. And I tweaked it and edited it and I finally sent it out. And I invested quite a chunk of money because I sent out 20,000 bits of mail that month. Bit of a risk really. I mean, these days I'd probably do it in a different way and try a small test first and then roll it out. But it was a bold move and fortunately it paid off. And out of that 20,000, I got a 5.61% response of people who signed up for the subscription. And over the following 13 years, that subscription income totaled just over £3 million. Now, I don't say that to be flashy anyway. You know me well enough that it's not my style. The point I'm saying is this: unless I'd written it, unless I'd edited it, and I want to talk about that in a moment or two, unless I'd been bold enough to stick it out there, and this is obviously days pre-internet, so I actually spend my money, I couldn't send it out for free as an email, unless I'd been bold enough to put it out there and let the market tell me whether it worked, I would never have got that money. I would have never built that subscriber base. I would never have had all those friends that came from it, all those high fee paying clients that came out of being subscribers of my newsletter. You see, I think as a coach, consultant, speaker or trainer, one of the things we absolutely have to have in our arsenal, I'm not sure about that military context, but we'll leave it in there for the moment. But within the offerings that we have, we must have either a membership or a subscription program. I think it's absolutely essential. And the reason that's so much in the forefront of my mind, it's something that I show people all the time, but it may not be by the time you see this particular video. But funny enough, the one I've just written recently is how to run your very own money-making, freedom-giving subscription and membership programs. This was the particular email that actually it was a web page and an email that I've been working on. If it went out in the post, and this one isn't going out in the post, this would be, as you can see, it'd be 8 pages, right? So here's what I think can be one of the key ways of improving our writing. As a copywriter, which I am now because I've been writing persuasive copy for, well, more than 20 years, I found this to be true. About 25% of the time is spent in writing, and about 75% of the time, only looking at this part of the deal, is in the editing side of things. So yes, it's writing it, and the way that I particularly write, this letter that can change your life, is I just write it. I have the idea in my mind, I have a formula that I work through, and I'll share that on another video, but I have a formula and I sit and I write it, that's it. But then the work comes into play, because the writing's the easy bit for me. The work comes into play is the editing. So it's then going through every word and saying, could I have a better word in there? Can I remove that word? Can I change it? Can I move that paragraph around? Can I put this bit in front of that bit? And that's where the work comes in. Then I send it to friends and colleagues and to say to them, have a read of this and come back and see what else you think about it. I remember years ago, I wrote a particular piece of direct mail, in the sense of it was an email, it wasn't actually sent out in the mail. But I think of it as direct mail when I write it that way, because that's how I started. And I read it to a very close colleague of mine, Steve, and I watched him as I was reading it and looking back and seeing his responses to it. And he said to me this great line, and he said, Peter, I only got engaged when you said, and he mentioned this one bit. And so what I did then was I reread it and realised that he was right. And so I cut off the complete top of the email, in the sense of all the body copy below the subject line and all the rest of it at the top. And I put that lower down in the email, in the piece of marketing, because the most important bit came early once I'd made that change. There's a brilliant book by Herschel Gordon Lewis called Sales Letters That Sizzle, and in there he's the expression which says, fire your big guns first. You can't bury the good stuff of your copy on page 3. It's got to come up front with it. And the way you find out how to do that is, number 1, keep writing, and number 2, be ruthless with the editing. Look at every single thing that you've written and say, does it really need to be in there? Is it the most persuasive that I could absolutely write it? Can I change the verbs? When I interviewed Roy H. Williams, the Wizard of Ads, and I asked him as my final question, he was an interviewer in my Achiever's Edge series, and I said to him, Roy, if there was one idea that you would share with people which you know would make a real difference, what would you suggest it could be? And he said, use better verbs. So true, isn't it? Sometimes when we go through our copy in the editing stage, we can leave in far too many iterations of the verb to be. Let's change them in the edit. We can have far too many adjectives rather than better verbs. Let's change it in the edit. Take more time with the edit. Now, of course, I'm talking about the 100% there, which is 25% writing and 75% editing. Prior to that, if you're writing for stuff, perhaps you're writing for somebody else, comes all of the research stage. So research, looking into things, understanding the product or service being offered, understanding the market, who you're actually writing to, that all comes before the writing stage. But when we get to the writing stage, in that 100% bit, it's write 25% and edit 75%. Well, if you've got any comments on this, please add them down here somewhere and we can get into a dialogue. And in the meantime, I continue to wish you every success in your journeys and adventures in life as you have freedom from anything that may have held you back, and freedom to be, do and have, always in that order, to be, do and have, whatever you set your heart and mind upon. I enjoyed putting these together for you, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye for now. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos. Then click to watch the next video. Remember to visit our website at peterthomson.com and download your free copy of my latest book, How to Write Your Business Book in 5 days or less. Until next time, every success.